a means to guarantee that the people who depend on you will be taken care of in the future. Talk to Matt and the team at Hoopie Insurance Services about obtaining coverage to ease your worries and secure financial stability for those closest to you. For over 3 decades, Hoopie Insurance Services has been helping people just like you get the right life insurance coverage for a cost that fits their budget. Remember, a difficult conversation today could mean peace of mind tomorrow. Find comfort in the experienced and knowledgeable staff of local agents at Hoopie Insurance Services. Call 486-7488. That's 486-7488. Or visit them on the web at hupe-insurance.com. Hoopie Insurance, their family serving your family for over 40 years.
Marcus Freeman and the 2022 Notre Dame football team are locked and loaded for a season sure to have all the excitement of a shootout at high noon. To stay on top of it all, join me, Phil Houck, and America's foremost authority on Notre Dame football, Tim Priester, senior editor of IrishIllustrated.com. Saturday mornings at 10 sharp for the 26th season of Fighting Irish Preview. Saturday mornings at 10, it's Fighting Irish Preview on 1380 The Fan.
Broadcasting live from the Masters Heating and Cooling Studios. This is WKJG 1380 AM, 100.9 FM, Fort Wayne, Indiana. The Fan. This is a presentation of Fort Wayne High School sports on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. The Hoopie Insurance Services High School Coaches Show. Hoopie Insurance, our family serving your family for over 40 years. Here's your host, Justin Kenny.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining here on the High School Coaches Show. I'm Justin Kenny, talking sectional semifinals this evening, and all 6 classes in action tomorrow night. 5A, 6A, of course, getting it started for the first time with the bye week yesterday. So a lot to cover over the next 60 minutes. We'll talk in just a second with Brice Vance, our buddy from OutsideTheHuddle.net, as we do each and every week. Head coach Jason Garrett, Bishop Dwenger Saints will join us about 6:15. Of course, one of the marquee matchups in Week 11 in the area, Bishop Dwenger and Snyder. We'll see if Bishop Dwenger, for the second straight year, can knock off the Panthers in the sectional. Bottom of the hour, we'll talk Adams County and the Adams County rivalry that will have its latest iteration tomorrow night. Adams Central and South Adams. Head coach of the Starfires, Mr. Grant Moser, he'll join us at 6:30 to break that one down. And then 6:45 or so, Chris DePew, head coach of the Garrett Railroaders, and talk about a team that was dead to rights at 0-6 to start the season, have bounced back, have been 3-1 since then, and playing in a sectional semifinal game tomorrow night when the Railroaders will hit the road and head to Yorktown. So plenty to get to between now and the top of the hour. Let's get it started, as we do each and every week, with our buddy Brice Vance. Brice, how are you?
I'm doing great, Justin. How are you?
We're hanging in, sir, and we get started with 5A and 6A this week in the postseason after the break last week. Let's talk about the one up and near Mishawaka. It's going to be Carroll and Penn. Carroll undefeated, Penn 2 losses. Carroll trying to make a name for itself in 6A. Penn really good. Lone loss in state is to Cathedral. What should we expect there?
I think we are going to have a low-scoring battle. Both these teams play really good on defense. Penn, in the last 4 weeks of the season, allowed just a total of 10 points. As you mentioned, they played a really good team out of Cincinnati, out of state, and then they played Cathedral as well. They got beat by both those two teams. But other than that, they really have played really strong football, really good defensive football. They like to run the football a lot. And this is going to be probably the best team that Carroll has faced all season long. And I want to say that Carroll's ready for it, but you just don't know until they get out there and play against a much more physical opponent than they've probably seen all season long. and a defense that, is probably going to challenge them in a lot tougher manner than maybe any other defense that they faced all season long. I'm trying to think of the best defenses that they've faced this year, and the list isn't too long, and some of the teams that they have had closer games with have, given up a lot of points to other opponents. So I think Carroll is going to be tested. I think Jimmy Sullivan's probably going to see a lot of different looks that he hasn't seen all season long. Maybe, might struggle for the first time this year, just because I think that he's going to be facing maybe a little bit more pressure and than he has in the past, 9 games this year.
Brice, it's maybe the easiest matchup for an Area 6A team when we talk Carroll and Penn tomorrow, because Northrop has to host Fishers, and Homestead has to go down and face the number one team in 6A in Hamilton Southeastern. And I said earlier today, Homestead could go down to Hamilton Southeastern, play its best game by far of the year, and still lose by like 25 points.
Yeah, that's
it's depressing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. When you think about it, the teams that didn't play last week, the teams 5A and 6A, realistically, we could have 2 area teams left after this week. We could have Northside, who takes on an Anderson team that is very beatable, and then the winner of Bishop, Dwenger, and Snyder, and then all the Class 6A teams could, easily lose tomorrow. We could be, and this is usually a big week when a lot of area teams get eliminated, whether it's by playing another area team or a team that's out of the area that's just a lot better or a little better than they are. But, yeah, for Homestead, it's just we haven't really seen them. Well, we've seen probably their best ball at times. We know what they can do on offense. We saw what they could do against a Wayne team, but we know how poor they are on defense, and it just feels like Homestead is going to be way overmatched. It's the situations that we've talked about many times when maybe the schedule change happens next year, that these teams just are punched in the mouth at this time of the year early on, get down 2 scorers, and then they're just scratching and clawing just to make it a reasonable game by the end of it. And this feels like this could be a game that could get out of hand pretty quickly if Homestead even is clicking on offense, because they do have a lot of firepower. But I think that defense has just been, very porous at times this year, and has allowed a lot of big plays to a lot of teams that are going to be that are a lot lesser than Hamilton Southeastern, who has faced, some of the best competition in the entire state and has held up pretty well.
And that's really the crux of the issue, and people will kind of listen to this show and even some of the prognosticators around town. And, man, how are you picking against an undefeated Carroll team? And it's just the level of 6A football elsewhere in the state is just so tremendous. And you look at it, HSE 9-0 at the schedule they play, Cathedral up there, Brownsburg has only lost to Hamilton Southeastern, Center Grove. People saying, Indy area is down, while Carmel and Ben Davis and Fishers and Warren Central. Warren Central has 5 losses, and they're still ranked in the AP poll to enter the postseason. It's just It's amazing that the level of football that we see in 6A, people will say it's unfair. You can argue that, but quite frankly, this area isn't where it needs to be in 6A football. The hope is they can get there. Maybe Carroll can make a point tomorrow night against Penn, but it's absolute murder to get even to state finals, let alone to win it. Hopefully the move to non-conference games next year for the SAC will help that a little bit. But like casual fans of high school football just don't understand how crazy 6A is in this state.
No, I'm hopeful every single year, that, one of these, teams can go down to a Westfield or, a Zionsville and win. But the reality is more often than not, they don't, because the competition is just a whole nother level. It's raised up a notch, and the competition that they face in and week out is so much more tougher than what they face up here in the SAC. That's just the reality of it. It's apples and oranges. It's college football in high school, but it's like the SEC, SEC and MIC and then HCC down there, just on those level. And the SAC is probably like, the Big 12 or the Big 10 or the Big 10 West, let's say.
Yeah.
Maybe not that bad, but still, it's you just have it's just a whole another level that when these teams face off each other, that they just look outmatched, and it's confusing because they've won 7 to 9 games in the regular season. You're like, how could they play this poorly? Well, it's because the competition that they beat up on isn't really that good.
Brice Vance joining us from OutsideTheHuddle.net, as he does every Thursday at 6 o'clock. And a team that wants to move past the regular season, Bishop Dwenger, at least with their matchup with Snyder. They were able to do that last year and pulled off a very convincing win in the sectional championship game for their 5th consecutive sectional title. Bishop Dwenger will host Snyder tomorrow. What should we expect in this one? Does Bishop Dwenger have what it takes to do it again to the Panthers?
I don't think so. I think Bishop Dwenger's offense has just not been, I think, the level that they wanted to be at, more where it was in years past. Their leading rusher, Tobias Tittman, only has, 375 yards this year. They've just kind of lacked a consistent game, rushing attack, and they, had to change at quarterback, which kind of, threw them off a little bit this year. And then I think with Snyder, I think that they have, played some of their best ball down the stretch, and I think that we saw in the matchup, just a couple of weeks ago that, Snyder was able to really hold them down, hold them, around 200 yards of total offense, really didn't allow them to do anything. So unless some, drastic change comes to this Dwenger offense in the next, 24 hours, I don't see Dwenger being able to, keep this game within 10, just the way the last game played out a couple of weeks ago. And they could bring in some motivation off that loss, but I still think Snyder just has, too much firepower on offense, with Luke Halpert and as a couple of running backs that they, like to trot out there. I think they just have much more firepower than what Dwenger brings to the table.
Bryce, Leo and East Noble, this one's always fun because it never seems to go with what happens in the regular season. And
right.
Earlier this year, Leo, East Noble, great game. East Noble falls by 7. Man, I look at this matchup tomorrow. I see what the Knights did last week on the road, and I see how Leo struggled against Southside. Am I wrong to say that maybe East Noble has the edge here tomorrow?
I would say they probably have a slight edge, just because I think that East Noble's rushing attack, with you don't really know who you're going to get. You're going to get Tyson Reinbold, maybe you're going to get Michael Mosley, or you're going to get Dylan Crow. I mean, and those 3 guys are all different and bring all something different to the table. Michael Mosley had a heck of a game last week that I don't think really anybody expected him to have. And they, really shut down an Angola offense in the second half that was rolling in the first half. So whatever adjustments they made at halftime were fantastic. And then, Leo struggles with a winless Southside team last week is a little concerning. That game was probably closer than it should have been, but turnovers and Leo's defense, kept them, kept their heads above water. So I don't think at this point when you're playing a program that's the caliber of or the quality of East Noble, I don't think you can just keep your head above water. You're going to have to come out and actually, punch this team in the mouth, so to speak, and actually, take it to them. And then they could, because this has kind of turned into a rivalry game over the last handful of years as these teams have played each other more often than not. So I expect another great game tomorrow, just because these two teams know each other so well, and even though the change at head coach for one program, I don't think any of that takes any of that away.
Brice, last week we had Wayne give Columbia City a really good game. We had Southside hang around Leo, so NE8 versus SAC, at least the bottom teams in the SAC against towards the top of the NE8, a couple really good games. Tomorrow we have Norwell going to Concordia. That is a top-level NE8 team against a team that was toward the bottom of the SAC. Could this game be a game to watch at Zollner Stadium tomorrow?
I think for a half, just because what Norwell, they had a slow start last week. But the way that they turned it on in that second half, really kind of showed me that maybe this team is more focused after the loss to Columbia City in Week 9. That they maybe weren't taking Heritage too seriously, and it was just kind of going through the motions a little bit. Maybe just some things weren't working out, but then to really pour it on in that second half, I think this team is, off to a slow start this time around. The Cadets are more than capable of keeping this game close for deep into the second half, with some of the firepower that they have on offense, especially out wide. And it just feels like that they might have some of the size to handle Norwell for a little bit. But I think overall, that Norwell should take over in this game, if not late in the second quarter or in sometime in the third.
Brice, are we on a collision course with Bishop Luers and Eastside, or could Cherubusco make it interesting against the Knights?
Well, this is the game I'm going to be at tomorrow. I'm hopeful, just for my sake, that Busco does keep it close, because I've seen Busco get blown out 2 times so far this year.
Paul Sade said you're not welcome tomorrow after saying
Well, I'm going there just for the pork burgers then. So it all depends on the rushing attack of Cherubusco. Can they keep chains moving? Can Wyatt Marks, can Riley Brock keep the ball moving, keep the ball away from a Luers team that isn't as high-powered as it has been in the years past, but is still very capable of breaking off some big plays with Nick Thompson. So it feels like that, once these area teams outside of Eastside, the last handful of years, whether it's a West Noble or what Prairie Heights saw last night or Central Noble has seen in years past, that the speed from Luers just becomes too much, not only on offense, but in the special teams, with kickoff returns, punt returns, they put those guys back there and they make big plays. So it's going to be interesting to see if Busco can handle some of that speed on the defensive side. I'm not so sure that they can. That's why they need to keep the ball out of Luers' hands on offense. And so it's all about that rushing attack and keeping the chains moving for Busco and sustaining long drives to keep this game close. But I do think that Luers' speed will probably ultimately take over eventually. But I do think Busco will be more competitive than they've shown in my previous 2 viewings of them.
Brice, after a couple of years ago, 2019, a dominant South Adams team owned Adams Central in the regular season, then got beat in the regional round by the Flying Jets. These 2 teams match up tomorrow in sectional play. Adams Central looking like the runaway favorite in the North to make the Class A championship. Could South Adams do enough on both sides of the football and all 3 facets of the game to potentially turn the tables and get this win, or is AC just too strong?
I think AC is way too strong. In the first time that these 2 teams matched, yes, South Adams, put up 20 points in this game, but they're going to need to put up a whole lot more, and that's, putting a lot on Owen Weiner to do a lot more than he's capable of, maybe. But, he is, a very special talent and has a lot of weapons at disposal as well. But on the defensive side, South Adams gave up, almost 500 yards of rushing the last time these 2 teams faced a handful of weeks ago. That rushing attack for Adams Central is just way too strong, with Keegan Bloom, Ryan Tester doing it as well. So it just feels like this team is poised to do special things. It's hard to see anybody getting in Adams Central's way, and I don't think it's South Adams tomorrow night.
Brice, it's been a pleasure. Have fun getting some pork burgers tomorrow, and if it goes south for Cherubusco, stay away from Paul Sade. He will blame you.
I will stay out of his direction for sure, but I will enjoy not just 1 pork burger, maybe 2, and we'll see if I can slip in a 3rd.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. That was Brice Vance of OutsideTheHuddle.net here joining us on the High School Coaches Show presented by Hoopie Insurance Services. Going to take a break. Coach Jason Garrett, Bishop Dwenger Saints will join us after the break. We'll come back here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
If you've got joint pain and you haven't checked out QC Kinetics, you're missing out on what it's doing for people here. It's nothing short of amazing. Hey, it's Mike Rags. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in exciting new pain treatments with advanced regenerative medicine, non-surgical alternatives. If you're living with joint pain from injury or arthritis, don't let them tell you steroids and pain meds and surgery are the only options. QC Kinetics uses regenerative treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue. Maybe you've been diagnosed with bone-on-bone arthritis arthritis and been told you need a replacement. Call QC Kinetics now for an alternative way to deal with the pain. These amazing protocols work with pain caused by injury as well, like a torn meniscus or rotator cuff. Call QC Kinetics now. Don't keep living with that pain. Learn how regenerative medicine can give you your life back with no drugs and no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 260-333-9383. That's 260-333-9383. That's QC Kinetics. 260-333-9383.
If you served honorably in our nation's armed forces and you're looking for a way to continue serving your fellow veterans in your community, then join AMVETS. Each year, AMVETS members volunteer millions of hours at VA healthcare facilities from coast to coast, helping to improve the lives of their fellow veterans through the VA Voluntary Services Program. AMVETS posts and departments also participate in a wide variety of community service projects, ranging from Americanism in our schools to supporting the Special Olympics and Boy Scouts of America. If you no longer wear the uniform today, you can still serve through the AMVETS by joining today at amvets.org.
This is the Hoopy Insurance Services High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back, everyone, to the sectional semifinal edition of the High School Coaches Show. I'm Justin Kenny here till the top of the hour at 7 o'clock. We'll make way for the Marcus Freeman Show. The head coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish will recap the win over UNLV and the game coming up at high noon on Saturday at Syracuse against the one-loss Orange, who are looking to bounce back after letting a double-digit lead slip away in the fourth quarter last week at Clemson, a battle of undefeated teams. That will be a interesting game to watch coming up on Saturday as Notre Dame tries to make it 2 straight and Syracuse tries to get back on the winning track. Dino Baber's doing a tremendous job this season with the Orange. But before college football on Saturday, we have high school football coming up tomorrow in one of the premier games in the area, premier rivalries in the entire state. Snyder versus Dwenger. They'll face off at Shields Field tomorrow. Head coach of the Bishop Dwenger Saints, Coach Jason Garrett. Coach, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Not bad, Coach. And you had a week off. I'm sure you just gave the team off the entire week and relaxed and now back to work, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Not quite, yeah.
So how do you approach a bye week? Every team's different. Every year's different. What was the approach this year with your guys?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I mean, I think we've learned, since we've been in 5A, it's our fourth go at it, that, it's a back to basics for us. It gives us an opportunity to really pause and, look at some of the things that we need to improve on and get guys healthy and kind of reset things. And so that's what we do. I mean, I think we did a nice job of that, got back into just the blocking and tackling and assignments and schematics and had a great week. It was great energy last week. We always end with a little service that we do together for the 40 Days for Life, and it's kind of a team bonding thing that we get back to. We do a lot of that during the summer, and then, a normal week now in preparation for Friday night.
Coach, you make a good point about getting back to basics between the off season and you have limited time, and then the preseason you have limited time, and limited times you can be in full pads. And once you get into the season, you're more doing prep work and scout work than fundamentals. How big is it to be able to strip stuff down? Okay, we're going to work on tackling and we're going to work on reads and all of that, kind of getting down to the basics without preparing for a specific opponent.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely, crucial. I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, sometimes we even forget ourselves. I mean, on a normal week, you might have, let's say you have 30 minutes a day for offense or however you break up your schedule. I mean, by the time you're rolling into Friday, you've been trying to work on a new scheme for 2 hours,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's crucial. So you're breaking down film, you're breaking down things. We're still looking at, personnel combinations and different things. And, we've grown to really appreciate it. In 4A, you're rolling right into a game,
Yeah.
You just kind of stay the same mode, and you don't have a moment to kind of pause and kind of put pieces back together, if you will. So we've been blessed with it. I think it's been a good thing for us. I feel like we've gotten better at it each year, in 5A being our fourth time at it. So.
Coach, when you look at the quarterback spot, when Sam went down and we all thought, man, what a tremendous hit. Now you got to put in a sophomore with very limited experience. But it seems like with every passing week, Braxton Burmis has looked more and more comfortable. What was the approach with him when he was thrust into the lineup? Did you have to kind of stage back the calls a little bit, or has he been able to jump into the deep end, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, he's a great kid. He was kind of running our 2-minute O back then already, week 4, into week 5 when Sam got hurt, and he's a varsity baseball guy, so a lot of moxie. I think he's got a lot of poise, and was just thrown into you look at that, late first half, second half, and we kind of had to make some decisions in the Carroll game, just let him cut it loose, knowing that they knew we were passing and the score was lopsided, and just to kind of get him used to the lights. He did a great job of that. He played well against Concordia and Lures, and then Owen Zimmerman came along. We finally had a backup. To that point, we really didn't have a number 2, which was really our number 3, and so those two guys, did a nice job, through the Northrop game. And I don't know that it's, a hidden secret anymore, but we've had a kind of a miracle happen in the last week and a half or so. And there's a really good chance that Sam might be with us tomorrow night.
Awesome.
And so there's been quite a bit of change and things, kind of adjustments that we've had to make in the last couple of weeks with that. So quarterback situation's kind of in an interesting place right now.
Coach Jason Garrett, Bishop Dwenger Saints, joining us here on the High School Coaches Show, presented by Hoopy Insurance Services. And, Coach, somebody that I wanted to talk to you about, ask you about, Robert Pelkington, who's been just a phenomenal player, yet outside backer, and being able to be used in a variety of ways. Just another one of those Bishop Dwenger kids that, as a senior breaks out and performs well. And everybody with Dwenger said, yeah, we knew it was going to happen. He just needed an opportunity, and Pelkington's making the most of it as a senior.
Yeah, you just talk about certain kids like him and you say he's just a football player. I mean, he's something else. As an outside linebacker, making plays and, leading the team in tackles and doing the things that he did. And, it was great that he was honored in the conference voting. I think people understood what he's able to do defensively, and that just keeps expanding. And, with our defense and our philosophy, he fits that mold really well, and couldn't be prouder and could be thankful. Just a great young man, flies around, making checks, doing things that we need those guys to do. So definitely become a great defensive leader for us.
Coach, last year, week 8, you lose to Snyder by double digits. You come back, beat him in the playoffs. This year, you lose to Snyder week 8 by double digits, and you get him tomorrow. How do you approach it? Because I'm sure you're mentioning to your kids, this is a different season, but also look at the opportunity we have that we were able to take advantage of last year. You guys have the exact same opportunity tomorrow.
Yeah, amen. There's a lot of similarities when you kind of lay it out that way. I think for us, it's the same message, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's proven to be very good for us. The tradition here, the way we look at the regular season, the process, allowing adversity to galvanize and build. And, we look at the Snyder game, and we flat out just did not play well. We made some mistakes. You take a couple plays away, going for it on 4th down, short field, they score. You look up, and it's 28-0, and it doesn't really feel 28-0. So, there's a lot that we try to do with the guys to keep them motivated and see the big picture. And, let's fix the mistakes. We got to reduce penalties. We certainly got to play physical. We got to honor their speed and the things they do schematically. But from a standpoint of tradition and who our kids are and who our alumni are, the kids know how to respond to adversity. And, I think they're going to be ready to go tomorrow night. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Coach, people see that 28-0, but that was a one-score game for the majority of that game, so a lot closer than the final score indicated, definitely. But, Coach, what's this one come down to tomorrow night? Snyder, Dwenger, it's a treat now we get this in the postseason. I don't necessarily maybe believe that the coaches think it's a treat necessarily, but what's the key tomorrow night?
Well, I think number one, their team speed is outstanding. On both sides of the ball, and in particular, one that's maybe not talked a lot about is in their special teams. And schematically, they do some great things in the kicking game, in their return game especially. We have got to, make sure that they don't have big explosive plays. I think that's number one. Number two, we got to win the battle in the trenches. It goes without saying. We've got to match their physicality. we take pride in our physicality. It's got to be won in the trenches. Obviously, we got to execute. We've had a lot of red zone trips this year that have not ended in points, be it penalties or just missed on that the last 2 weeks especially, and then play just sound defense with a 3-year starter for them. They're making checks at the line. They want to run the ball. It starts there for them. They execute their passing game well, so we got to be gap sound, and we got to make sure we hit our marks and play physical and fast. And if we do that and win the turnover battle, put those things together, I think we got a great shot.
Coach, it is always a pleasure. I appreciate you joining us. Good luck tomorrow night, and it should be a fun one out at Shields Field.
Appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
All right, buddy. That was Coach Jason Garrett, head coach of the Bishop Dwenger Saints. And, yeah, how do you balance that? Because you want your kids to tap into that energy and that play that was last year when you beat up on Snyder 42-20 in the playoffs. You want to remind them about it. You want to remind them the fact that you can do it after losing to Snyder in the regular season. But you also need to hammer in their heads that this is a different year. You have a similar opportunity, but a different year. And Snyder now has a huge bullseye on its back, being ranked the number 1 team in Class 5A in both polls entering the postseason. So can Bishop Dwenger do it again, beat Snyder after losing to them just a few weeks before in the regular season? We'll find out tomorrow night, 7 o'clock kickoff, not to basketball quite yet, 7 o'clock kickoff at Shields Field, Snyder and Dwenger. Another big one coming up tomorrow, another big rivalry, Adams Central, South Adams, the Battle of Adams County. You could say a lot about this game, the history, the recent history about what's going on between these two. We're going to talk all about it when we come back. Coach Grant Moser, South Adams Starfires, will join us after the break. You are listening to the High School Coaches Show presented by Hoopie Insurance Services here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
Life insurance, while a sensitive topic, is a vital part of smart financial planning, particularly for parents. For a minimal cost, a life insurance policy can provide a means to guarantee that the people who depend on you will be taken care of in the future. Talk to Matt and the team at Hoopie Insurance Services about obtaining coverage to ease your worries and secure financial stability for those closest to you. For over 3 decades, Hoopie Insurance Services has been helping people just like you get the right life insurance coverage for a cost that fits their budget. Remember, a difficult conversation today could mean peace of mind tomorrow. Find comfort in the experienced and knowledgeable staff of local agents at Hoopie Insurance Services. Call 486-7488. That's 486-7488. Or visit them on the web at hupe-insurance.com. Hoopie Insurance, their family serving your family for over 40 years.
I can't think of any way to improve upon the service that I receive.
Gibson's Heating and Plumbing is your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer that is ranked number 1 out of nearly 300 dealers nationwide in customer satisfaction. Here's what Gibson's customers are saying.
The office is always courteous. Gibson's service tech is exceptional in his attitude and performance, and is friendly and efficient as he follows up, explains what he's done that day and what needs to be done if there's going to be a follow-up. Kudos to Gibson's for their outstanding service.
Your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Gibson'sHeating.com.
Now back to the Hoopie Insurance Services High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back, everyone. Sectional semifinal edition of the High School Coaches Show here, presented by Hoopie Insurance Services, 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM. I am Justin Kenny here until the top of the hour. We'll make way for the Marcus Freeman Show at the top of the hour. Head coach of Notre Dame will talk UNLV, also talk the big matchup coming up against Syracuse at high noon on Saturday. After that, we'll make way for Thursday night football. It will be Ravens and Bucks from Tampa tonight. So a evening full of football talk here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM. We're continuing now. We're talking some 1A football with our buddy from Bern, Mr. Grant Moser of South Adams. Coach, how are you?
What's up, Kenny? How you doing, man?
Oh, we're living the dream here. And, Coach, you're coming off 4 straight dubs. You got a win over Fremont last week. It's been a couple back-to-back dominant wins for you. How are you feeling about your group? Haven't lost since you were knocked off by AC in Week 6.
Yeah, we're playing well. Obviously, Southern Wells and Fremont aren't Adams Central, but we matured and were professional and took care of business against those teams we're better than. Different animal tomorrow, but exciting as always. And I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. There's something different about small school football when you have coaches from their hometown on both staffs. You have communities who just love their school, love their program, love their kids. It's something special. So if you're looking for a game tomorrow night, Adams County, Monroe will be the place to be. It'll be hopping. There'll be 2 ranked teams again. We're the underdogs, obviously, something that our kids know, we know. But we talked about this even. We're an upset away from a chance to go, when you look down the road a little bit, kind of favorable matchups, maybe in the sectional final and then even regional to make it run to semi-state. So upset away from doing something pretty special here, so our kids know that, and we're excited.
Coach, had a text came in. I think it may have been your brother saying that he's taking Adams Central going away in this one. But to me, I look back a couple years ago, 2019, you were an undefeated team heading into a matchup with Adams Central. You had beaten them in the regular season, and AC's able to clip you in a big moment in a year that we looked at you guys maybe making a run. It was a year early. You went to state in 2020. But do you remind your kids about 2019 any? Because it seems like the roles could potentially be reversed tomorrow night.
We talked about that. So we've been on both sides of that. You go back to last year even. We knocked out the number 2 team in the state in round 2. Monroe Central was 10-0, had beaten us by 20 points earlier in the year. Obviously, the weather helped us a little bit there, but, I mean, it's still an upset there. You go back to 2016 where we lost the number 1 team. They were 11-0 at the time, Woodland. Way better team than we were in 2016, and we hung around and made a play at the end to win the game. So we've done it before, so we know the kind of the formula it takes. Obviously, the 2019 is on the other side of that too, where the thing is you got to hang around enough where the doubt starts to creep in on the favorite's mind. So we got to hang around the first half. They start to think, is this really going to happen? We're going to get upset by South Adams. How horrible is that going to be if our rival comes back and beats us here? We're supposed to go to state, and they are. They're the favorite in 1A North, no question about it. I think anyone you ask would know that. So that's the goal for us, is to throw everything we have at them. Right now we're working on onside kicks, fake punts, 19 trick plays. I'm kidding, obviously, but it's just about trying to get doubt into their mind. Because obviously, I know from 2019, it's a horrible, horrible feeling when you're the favorite and you lose to a county rival. So we just got to be able to just stick around and keep putting pressure on them so they start to have a little bit of doubt in their minds.
Yeah, Coach, you bring up a great point. How important is the opening 5, 6, 8 minutes tomorrow night?
Huge. And we're a no-huddle, hurry-up team. We try to snap the ball in 11 seconds, which is really good against some teams. You saw the last 2 weeks, but that's probably not what we're going to do tomorrow night because we want to try and keep AC off the field the best we can. It's going to be offensively for us, our pass game against their pass rush. They have, Cam Smith, their starting corner, suffered a horrible broken leg last week, so they're going to have a new defensive back who has not played varsity at all, so we're going to have to try and take advantage of that a little bit. I'm sure they'll have a little help over him, or at least quarterback or safety, wherever they put this new player. They're going to bring pressure like they always do, so it's our offensive line trying to give Owen Warner time, and Owen making plays to some of our good receivers, Brady Beal, Silas Loshi, Musselman. We have playmakers, so it's going to be – we're not going to take shots. We'll take some, but we're going to try and get the ball out quick and give Owen time. Hope Owen uses his legs a little bit. Owen knows his progression is 1-2. If it's not there, get going and run the ball. The big question mark, AC is so stinking good offensively, and it's not it's their fundamentals. It's people don't talk about. They're so good at blocking. Their blocking schemes are so well thought out. They only have 5 or 6 plays they run, but they block so well. It's just fundamentals they do since they're young, and it's something that I'm jealous of. It's something we're trying to get to as far as blocking goes. But they block so well. They don't hold very often. They don't let guys get off blocks. So we got to find a way to slow that run game down because they go 4 yards, 5 yards to carry. They get them in third and 1. They're going to get a first down. So you have to find a way to get a tackle for loss on first or second down. And we have we do have some creative things defensively. We're going to try a little bit. But again, that's the key to this game is trying to not let them just run down your throat, which is no one's been able to do in the last I don't know how many years. So easier said than done.
Coach Grant Moser, South Adams Starfires, joining us here at the High School Coaches Show. Coach, how much can you take from the first matchup, regular season matchup? Do you throw it out? You guys know so much about each other now. There's no secrets here, but how much can you take out of that Week 6 game?
We spent a lot of time watching that this week. We liked what we did offensively. We scored 3 touchdowns. I think we have to score more than that tomorrow if we're going to win. I think the goal for us is trying to score 5 touchdowns, try and hold them under 5, which is, again, a tall task on both sides of the ball because they haven't given up 35 all year. Now they scored less than 35, maybe once to the east side this year. That's about it. So that's kind of the goal we have both sides of the ball is trying for that 5 touchdown mark. And again, we've only scored more than 35 points since I've been here on AC one time. That was back to the 2019 regular season. So it's easier said than done once again. But it is fun to be a part of. We know each other so well now. We play all the time. The communities know each other well. I love Keegan Blue, man. He's an awesome kid. I got to talk to him after the game the first time I played them, and obviously huge rivals. I don't have a ton of love in my heart for AC, and that's just growing up in South Adams. But that kid's awesome, man. He's a kid full of character, easy to talk to, and so he's one to root for Adams Central. But it's just a fun part to be. It's awesome that, and you say all the time, listen to you say all the time, but 6 miles apart, and we have 2 ranked teams every year. Pretty cool to be able to be a part of that here in Adams County.
Yeah, definitely is. Coach, you mentioned it in terms of keys tomorrow. We could talk about the offense and Owen Warner and all the playmakers you have, but who needs to have Herculean games defensively for you guys to be able to contain Adams Central, keep this one close?
Love that question. I think it's got to be our DNs. They run that quarterback keep with Ryan Black that no one can stop because they run bloom, and then he pulls it and keeps the ball around the outside. So our DNs and Dylan Ramirez and Clayton Strauss and Gavin Myers have to do an incredible job just being disciplined. And then we're going to send different looks at them with our linebackers. Our linebackers have been good all year. Brady Beal, Matt Somerset's been a stud, and Connor Fear. Those 3 have a huge night as well. But we got to win those one-on-one battles, which their O-line is very fundamental. They're big. They're way bigger than we are. Worm's probably one of the best linemen in the area, definitely in the state in 1A. So it's, again, winning those battles. Our linebackers need a big game, and our defensive ends.
In a way, I don't like the fact that you guys are in both the same sectional now. We got used to this being a regional matchup.
Yeah, me either. Tell you what, me either. But that is what it is. And I told our kids last night, hey, everyone on this field right now has never not been a part of a South Adams team that hasn't won a sectional. Because our seniors have won the last 3 years. Our juniors have won, obviously, last 2 years, been a part of one. Our sophomores 1 year. We've won 3 straight sectionals. So that's kind of what we've been used to now. We haven't had AC in our sectional those 3 years. We've had to go through Monroe Central. But that's still, there's something about when you're used to winning that you just you want to win. Obviously, you're hungry for that, and it kind of becomes natural. So that's still something that we want to talk about. Hey, we've won 3 straight. Why not go for another one just because it's AC and they're supposed to beat us by 30 points? Why not go out there and have fun doing it? And I'm going to have fun tomorrow. I love calling offense, even though I'm not great at it, as you tell me many times when you talk to me and text me on Saturdays. And some other people tell me that as well, but I have a lot of fun doing it, man, especially when you can go out in a spread offense and try and just pick your matchups. So it's a lot of fun to be a part of, so I'm excited for tomorrow night, man.
When you take on a dominant team, sometimes opponents are beat before they even take the field or going through warm-ups. How important there's no doubt that South Adams, your group, is going to be confident tomorrow night. How important is confidence in a game like this?
I love that. You're absolutely right. There's so many times where you're going to play a team like AC, and you guys are going to be like, well, we're going to lose, so why? And we preach that, too. We're not ready. I've been a part of teams as a player where guys are like, well, I'm ready for basketball. I'm ready to get inside his court. I'm ready for wrestling season. And I don't see that from our guys. They want to keep playing. We've played, like I said, we played 4 weeks into the playoffs the last 3 years, 4 weeks plus. So I don't know if confidence is necessarily the key. I think we're confident we can do things if we do things the right way. But again, that's going to take executing and being a big part of our kids, just believing that we can hang around. I don't think anyone here thinks we come out and beat them by 3 touchdowns and like that, obviously. But I think we do have some belief we can hang around at least early on. And like I said, then some of that doubt creeps in. Maybe some mistakes happen on their side. That's when you can see something really special. And I told him that would be something really special. I told him again, this is a little bit ago, I told him this would be your best memory in high school. I'm talking outside of athletics even probably. It's going to be if you knock off the team that's supposed to go to state, who's your rival in sectional, it's going to be your best memory you have in high school, especially as a senior or junior. So that's what we're looking at, what an opportunity to be able to do this and send the Jets home. So that's what we're looking at.
Can't wait, brother. Appreciate the time. Thanks a lot. Good luck tomorrow. Should be another dandy between 2 Adams County rivals, man.
Hey, real quick, I got $10 tonight. Bucks or Ravens? Who am I putting it on?
You got to think the Bucks bounce back, right? 2 straight losses at home.
Tom Brady's, 56 now?
It seems like I think he had 2 birthdays since we started talking.
Always good talking to you. Thanks for having me on, Kenny.
All right, buddy. That was Grant Moser, head coach of the South Adams Starfires, and always a clown. Yeah, I haven't made my bets tonight, but I'm thinking Buccaneers. They don't lose 3 straight, right? You don't think so, but then again, who had the Buccaneers 3-4 at this point. Ravens-Bucks, you can listen to it tonight after the Marcus Freeman show. 8 o'clock coverage will start, 8:15 kickoff. But we're not done to talk Garrett Railroaders and head coach of the Railroaders, Mr. Chris DePew, and we'll talk about his season, bouncing back after a sluggish start, and the road matchup with Yorktown tomorrow. All of that when we come back here on the High School Coaches Show, presented by Hoopy Insurance Services, 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
This is Matt Hoopy of Hoopy Insurance Services, and I want you to think of me as your personal shopper for all of your insurance needs. As an independent agent, I can do the research and comparisons to find the right company and coverage that fits your needs, not just sell you a cookie-cutter, one-size-fits-all policy from some of the national companies. Besides shopping price, I look for companies that put you first when it comes to filing a claim. With an independent agency like Hoopy Insurance Services, not only do we have dozens of options to find the right policy that meets your needs, we work with companies that deliver service when you need them most. And you always have an advocate that isn't an employee of the company, but has leverage with the company to help you have a stress-free experience. Before you renew, or if you have new insurance needs, let's talk about the differences. Contact me, Matt Hoopy at Hoopy Insurance. We represent you. That's why we say our family serving your family since 1981.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Guys, did you know sildenafil doesn't just treat ED? It can also help you last longer again. That's right. The generic medication that costs 90% less than brand name Viagra is prescribed to treat ED and help guys get their old bedroom endurance back. And it's now available 100% online through HIMS. Just go to 4hims.com/perfect to get started today for free. HIMS can connect you with a licensed healthcare provider who can prescribe medication if appropriate and have it shipped to your door in discreet packaging. No copays and no in-person appointments necessary. It's never been more convenient to treat ED and reclaim your bedroom endurance. Head to 4hims.com/perfect to start your online visit for free. That's 4hims.com/perfect to get started free. FORHIMS.com/PERFECT.
1380 The Fan is looking for our next all-star advertising account executive. Do you have what it takes to join the Fan? Text radio to 46862 right now. Text radio to 46862. Are you passionate about doing your best, working harder than everyone else, and you want the rewards that come with a sales career with the Fan? I'm talking real money, including a $5,000 sign-on bonus if you're good enough to sell advertising on Sports Talk 1380 The Fan. Do you have the sales experience in retail, customer service, or business sales? You could be the one advertising sales all-star we hire. Text radio to 46862. We invest in you before you start on the job when you take our free sales talent assessment. Text radio to 46862. Our advertising sales reps enjoy flexible pay time off, a work-life balance that your friends will envy, and all the usual benefits. Someone's going to get a $5,000 sign-on bonus and an all-star career on the Fans advertising sales team. Will it be you? Federated Media, an equal opportunity employer.
Get the latest knife info from one of the country's premium knife shops, Blade Man's Knife Shop at the Shops of Scott Road. There's a reason customers drive hours just to shop at Blade Man's in Fort Wayne.
Hi, this is Mark, the owner of Blade Man's Knife Shop, and I'd like to personally invite you out to the store to see the area's best selection of quality knives. We have Benchmade, Spyderco, Microtech, ProTech, Hogue, Zero Tolerance, Medford Knife and Tool, ADV Tactical, Tour Knives, and many more. We also have a great selection of custom knives. Can't get out to the store or prefer to shop online? Check out our great selection on BladeMansKnifeShop.com. We pride ourselves on fast shipping because no one wants to wait weeks for their new knife. We update our online inventory daily so you know you're ordering in-stock product that will be shipped within one business day, and shipping is always free for orders over $100. So check us out on BladeMansKnifeShop.com or stop by the store in the Shops Scout Road and have a cup of coffee on me.
Be in the know and follow Blade Man's on Facebook and Instagram today. 10% discount to police and military, and now you can see the collection of Shun knives, the finest in kitchen colors, available at Blade Man's Knife Shop in the Shops of Scott Road.
This is the Hoopy Insurance Services High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back, everyone, to the sectional semifinal edition of the High School Coaches Show. I'm Justin Kenny here for a little bit longer. Top of the hour, Marcus Freeman Show, head coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, will be in to talk his team's win over UNLV and prepping for Syracuse. So listen to that at the top of the hour, followed by Baltimore and Tampa. Thursday night football coverage starts at 8 o'clock. Kickoff closer to around 8:15, but we're talking high school football here and plenty of high school football around the state tomorrow with sectional semifinals, including down in Delaware County. It'll be Yorktown hosting the Garrett Railroaders. Head coach of the Garrett Railroaders, Mr. Chris DePew. Coach, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Yes, sir. And as a coach-AD combo, how is it this time of year? Playoff time and getting into winter sports, I imagine it's absolute chaos.
It can be. You know, we host a girls' basketball scrimmage Saturday morning, so I'm going to be pretty sleepy-headed no matter what. But road games are a lot easier, to be honest. You know, all you got to worry about is coaching for the road games.
There you go. Makes sense. Coach, it was a rough start to the season, lost your first 6 games. Then you go to Fairfield, and everyone thought things would continue, and you handle the Eagles in relatively easy fashion, and that really kind of jump-started things. You sit now 3 wins your last 4, including last week. What was kind of the turnaround that led to these 3 wins?
Well, probably a combination of things. We went back to an under-center offense, a little bit more for me and my staff, what we would consider the old offense or a little bit old school, more power run-oriented and play-action pass and, not in a hurry to score, but we'll take it. We're super young. I mean, this is by far the youngest varsity team I've ever coached. We have, tomorrow night we will start on defense 5 sophomores and 2 freshmen.
Yeesh.
So, I mean, it's a really young group. And so, sometimes it takes some time for them to grow up and understand what Friday night's about. And then, really just a team that we had a lot of things that didn't go our way, and it wasn't really all our fault early on. And, kinds of things that really suck the energy out of a team, especially a young one. So they've grown up and recovered and playing a lot better now, and we're pretty thankful for that.
And let's be real. That first 6 games, it was a brutal schedule. AC, DeKalb, Busco, Lakeland, Eastside, West Noble. I mean, those are all quality teams that you guys had to play, and at least quality, right? And the fact that your team, your young group, was able to stay engaged, not just throw up their hands and it's over, come back and now be in a position where you're at is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's a great testament to them. It's pretty easy when things are going bad to do just that. Say let's move on. Let's get ready. Let's get ready for winter. Let's pack it in and do something else. But these guys have really gelled more. You have seniors and sophomores have to learn how to get along differently. A lot of times, that's a couple of age groups that don't always have a lot in common. So they, and really our juniors are. We didn't have very many to begin with, and those are the ones that all got hurt. And so we really have no juniors on the field tomorrow night, to be honest. So, getting some 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, and 18-year-olds to get on the same page is, I guess that's what coaching is sometimes.
One of those sophomores that's had to step into a big role, sophomore Calder Hefty at quarterback. He's been pretty solid for you as a sophomore. Never easy to be thrust into that position. How would you grade Hefty's performance as a 10th grader at the varsity level?
Oh, yeah, he's probably about an A-. He's very heady, smart kid, a natural leader. Not a real big guy, but he commands the huddle. The older kids will follow him as well, which is pretty important for that position. And he's a football guy. We can look on Huddle, the account. We all have to watch film, and every week he's the kid who's watched the most film, and he's got to do this playing defense full time as well.
Sure.
So, I mean, most of my best quarterbacks over time have also played defense. And, for us this year, it's a necessity. But he likes it, and he's really good at it, too. So we're super happy with him. He is a big part of why this has gotten better.
And any quarterback's best friend, particularly a young quarterback, is a great running back. And Robert Koski has been, as advertised, a senior for you, over a 1,200-yard rusher, 14 touchdowns. I'm sure that offense revolves around when in doubt, give it to Koski.
Yeah, and they know it, and they relish in it. We were joking today. We're going down and play a spread team who's, playing amongst bigger schools in their conference. I mean, they play New Pal and Mount Vernon, two of the best programs in the state at any level, and they probably look at us on offense and say, what is that archaic stuff? They don't see it very much, So we kind of like the fact that maybe we're going to be something a little bit different. And so as we match up with them, sometimes that kind of offense allows you to play keep away and keep their offense off the field. And we've had quite a few times here in the last month. We've had 7 or 8 minute scoring drives, which I know is pretty frustrating, having been on the other side of that stuff before too.
Sure. Coach, you mentioned going down to Yorktown, a spread team. They're going to challenge that young defense of yours. What are the keys tomorrow to keep this run going?
Well, we can't do the same thing every down on defense. Even though we're very young, our 5 defensive backs will play tomorrow night will be four sophomores and a freshman. So, they've had to learn on the fly this year and how to adjust and run more than one coverage, so we'll have to do that. Tackle on space for sure. Pursue very well. We got to have 11 guys running to the ball, whether it's in the backfield or thrown downfield. Then offensively, take care of the ball and try to do it the way we have been doing it. And, if we could put a couple of long scoring drives together, that's a good way to limit the other team's offense for sure.
Coach, I appreciate the time. Thanks a lot. You can come over and mow my grass tomorrow before the game. I know you'll have plenty of time.
Yeah, I might have some energy for it, but I'm done.
All right, brother. Appreciate the time. Good luck tomorrow night.
Good talking to you. Thank you.
All right, buddy. That was Chris DePew, head coach of the Garrett Railroaders, joining us here. His team heads to Yorktown tomorrow night. A phenomenal bounce-back season for Garrett after starting the year 0-6, facing some adversity on the field, off the field, and for a young group to come together and get what was a very impressive win at Fairfield. They played tough against Angola. After that, a week later, and then back-to-back wins over Central Noble and Belmont to now be in a position in the sectional semifinal to take on Yorktown. And at this point in the season, who knows? We saw a Belmont team that went winless several years ago get all the way to the sectional championship game. So crazier things have happened. We'll see if the Railroaders can keep it up tomorrow night at Yorktown. That's going to do it for us here this evening on the High School Coaches Show presented by Hoopie Insurance Services. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks to our guest, Brice Vance of OutsideTheHuddle.net, Coach Jason Garrett, Bishop Dwenger Saints, Grant Moser. Couldn't find anybody else, so we went with Moser at the bottom of the hour, head coach of the South Adams Starfires, and wrapped it up with Chris DePew, head man and athletic director at Garrett High School. That's enough for us. Coming up tomorrow, be Caleb and Kenny in the morning, 7 to 9, followed by the Sports Rush, 4 to 6, followed by the Parkview Sports Medicine High School Football Tailgate pregame show, and then live from Cherubusco to be with Bishop Luers Knights and the Cherubusco Eagles, Brett Rump and Shannon Griffith on the call with all the action from Turtletown. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll be back next Thursday to preview some sectional championship games. Talk to you then. For everybody here at 1380 The Fan, my name is Justin Kenny. This has been the High School Coaches Show presented by Hoopie Insurance Services on 1380 FM.
Thanks for listening to this exclusive presentation of 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. The Hoopie Insurance Services High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Download our latest podcast, or for a complete schedule of upcoming games, go to 1380thefan.com.
Marcus Freeman and the 2022 Notre Dame football team are locked and loaded for a season sure to have all the excitement of a shootout at high noon. To stay on top of it all, join me, Phil Houck, and America's foremost authority on Notre Dame football, Tim Priester, senior editor of IrishIllustrated.com. Saturday mornings at 10 sharp.
Podcasts by Federated Media.